Hello and welcome to this special broadcast on FIFA World Cup 2026. The knockout stage has already produced thrilling drama, stunning performances and high-quality football. And today's show, we begin with France's win over Paraguay. What a game it was. In fact, it was a frustrating win over Paraguay with Kylian Mbappe penalty. We'll also review Morocco's victory over Canada, which secured their place in the quarterfinals, and we preview two exciting round of 16 encounters as Brazil face Norway and host Mexico face England in a battle for a place in the last 8. A guest would also be joining us with his expert analysis. Let's get it started. So Kylian Mbappe scored the only goal from the penalty spot as World Cup favourites France defeated Paraguay 1-0 in the round of 16 in Philadelphia. Paraguay's physical tactics presented France with a difficult problem to solve, but eventually Mbappe had the final say with a second half penalty. After dismantling all before them at the World Cup, France had to find a new way to win, to keep alive the dream of the trophy, whether they will be able to win the trophy this time around, because last time they lifted the World Cup trophy was in 2018. Their 1-0 victory over Paraguay was hard earned. And Mbappe's brilliant World Cup on a personal level continued as he rejoined Lionel Messi as the tournament's joint top scorer with 7 goals. The Real Madrid striker now has 19 World Cup goals in total from 19 appearances, meaning he's just one behind Messi's overall record of 20. France will next face Morocco in the quarterfinals on Thursday at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. All right, to discuss this interesting game, we are joined by senior sports journalist Malay Nirav, and we also have Suchitra Bhardwaj, DDI correspondent in the newsroom. Welcome, Malay. Appreciate you giving us your precious time. Malay, France needed a second half Kylian Mbappe penalty to break down a stubborn Paraguay side, winning a niggly World Cup last 16 clash 1-0. Paraguay made them work extremely hard, but what do you think? What was the biggest tactical challenge the French side has to face in the match?
The biggest tactical challenge for them was to resist the reaction to the heated exchanges which were going on. It was perhaps the ugliest and most physical test of the World Cup yet that we have seen, when Paraguay was doing everything possible on this earth to make them nervous and to provoke them into doing something whereby they would get the winning goal. Now, unfortunately, it went the other way. Though coach Gustavo Alfaro has said that they fought like lions, and but for the VAR-assisted penalty spot, they wouldn't have really got it. But at the end of the day, the winner is the winner. And Mbappe and his class was clearly shown, though we can say that the move that was made by Duo was the turning point where he dribbled through 3 defenders of Paraguay, and finally when he reached the penalty area, Mbappe was waiting for that golden moment when he would be there.
So Chitra, like Malay is also talking about that, I mean, a hard-fought game for France. Paraguay's efforts to get under the skin of France's superstars, in fact, worked for 3 quarters of a game. But does this hard-fought victory make them look even stronger title contenders?
Yes, definitely, Abhishek. France is now leading the table where they are predicting the winners of this Football World Cup. They have the highest percentage now. So the football fans and football experts, they are looking at France as the most favorite team to win this World Cup, and this match against Paraguay was their toughest test yet in this tournament, and I think Paraguay was trying the same tactics. They tried against Germany. They were trying to block the forwards of the French team, and they were not allowing them to make moves, to score goals. Football is called a beautiful game, but I think that beauty was somewhere missing in this game, and the French coach, he knows the capability of his players, and he knows that they can handle anything, and if they want to become the world champion, they have to handle all sort of tactics, and it's good that the French team, they came out winners, because this experience will definitely help them in the coming matches. And I think the way France is playing, the way Argentina is playing, we may be heading towards a repeat of last football World Cup's final, France versus Argentina. And Messi and Mbappe, they are also going neck to neck, 7 goals each. So it's a very good sight for any football fan, because that last World Cup final was the most rememberable final football World Cup finals, and I wouldn't mind watching a repeat of that match. And last edition was Argentina's edition, and this could be France World Cup and Mbappe's World Cup.
Right, we'll talk about Mbappe, but you spoke about Argentina, Suchitra. They also had a very close game against Cape Verde, and how close it was. And yesterday, France also had a very close game against Paraguay. But since you spoke about Kylian Mbappe, Malay, Mbappe once again proved to be the difference. What do you think? How decisive was his overall performance beyond just scoring that penalty in the 70th minute?
Well, see, the gentleman here that we're talking about, Mbappe, he embodies a great amount of patience. And, he's a master in terms of reading out, in terms of finding out as to what exactly is going to happen next. I was watching the match, though it was late at night, but I was watching the match. And what I saw there was that when Doué was moving ahead, as if Mbappe was just waiting there for the next thing to happen, and he was there, and he knew that a penalty was coming in. Howsoever difficult the chance was, but the way he also deceived Gil, the goalkeeper, the way he deceived it, that is where the greatness of the man lies. He waited, he saw the move coming in, he prepared himself, and then he went ahead and fired. Now, this is a game which is when you are able to read it well, just as Messi does it. And it will be very difficult to compare the two, because some kind of heroics that Messi has shown has not been seen yet coming from Mbappe, but only in small parts and bits and parts here and there. However, both are greats, and what Mbappe did last night was superb.
Yes, he is now level with Lionel Messi on 7 goals and has 19 World Cup goals overall. Messi has 20. But let's now take a look at how fans celebrated France's victory over Paraguay.
It's July 4th, so it was a good way to spend July 4th. Yeah, the game was good. I was supporting France, and they won. I'm African. Most of the players on that team are African. So go Africa! Woo-hoo! Go France!
Awesome. Mbappe, I knew he was going to score one, and he did. That was awesome. But Paraguay, they tried their best, but can't beat France,
Yes, so also, Suchitra, looking ahead to Morocco, what tactical battle do you expect in the next game? I mean, France-Morocco. Can Morocco frustrate France in a similar manner?
Well, Abhishek, yesterday's match, Morocco versus Canada, it made a different record. 8 yellow cards in that
Yes.
match and record foul. So I think France should expect another physical game. You know, if they were lucky against Paraguay, I think Morocco is going to present a tougher test against France, and Morocco is also having a dream run in this World Cup. They have become the first African nation to make it to the quarterfinals of two different editions of World Cup. So definitely Morocco will pose a threat, but I think the French coach Didier Deschamps, he will rework his strategy keeping in mind the kind of game that Moroccan team has displayed, because Morocco is also on an unbeaten run, the kind of game, the kind of power, the kind of tactics, and a rough game, I should say, the kind of rough game that they are playing. So I think in the next match, France will have to exchange some heated words and also some physical games. So they will have they will have to deal a lot of things, say, if they have to make it to the semi-finals, you know. And also we have to talk about the heat, because that heat is also making it a little difficult for the players to keep their cool. Abhishek.
Yes, let's talk about that game itself. Like you talked about Canada versus Morocco, how the game unfolded. Morocco eliminated co-hosts Canada with a 3-0 win earlier on Saturday. Morocco looked nothing like World Cup contenders for the opening 45 minutes, but once they woke, there was only one winner. A second half goal, Fest powered Morocco through a 3-0 victory over Canada. Azadine Ounahi struck twice before Soufiane Rahimi added a late third as Morocco shook off a sluggish first half to beat Canada, ending the co-host historic World Cup run and booking a second straight quarter-final berth. It's Morocco's second straight appearance in the quarterfinals, like we said, after becoming the first African team to reach their semi-finals in 2022. All right, Malay, Canada appeared well organized in the opening 45 minutes, but Morocco, like we said, became the first African nation to reach the World Cup semi-finals in 2022, and now they are back in the quarterfinals. Is this a proof that their success is no longer a one-off?
Absolutely, absolutely. You remember the same two teams which will be fighting now. Morocco was there against France, and now don't forget that they are the one who have eliminated Netherlands. Netherlands were sent back home with their bags packed by Morocco. So we should not be taking Morocco very lightly. And the way they played in the second half, that was class of a match, of a performance, which cannot be dismissed just as a one-off thing. They have practiced very hard. They're rough and tough. They're a robust team, and they will do everything possible to make sure that they do well in future. And the way they handle Canada, you know, they let Canada dominate for some time, but I knew it was coming from them. Somehow or other, I had this feeling that they're just not going to take it lying down. And when they came all odds. Then there was Azadine Ounahi. Just look at the way he played. World class. I mean, people keep remembering names which are there in the air all the time. We keep talking about people like Messi, Mbappe, and so on. But here, the way he played, and then this goal by Soufiane Rahimi was also a grand way of wrapping it up. A clinical 3-0. Class apart. Now, what I'm trying to tell you here is that we must not think that Morocco is weaker than anybody. See, here you have seen how Germany was eliminated. You have seen how Netherlands had to go home. Now, let us not think that this is a World Cup only of the nations whose vibes matter, like Brazil, like France, and like others. So the names are important, the vibes are important, but the performance on the field is more important than anything else.
Exactly. Performance on the field, like you said, is more important. Morocco, in fact, they've secured a convincing 3-0 victory, but the first half, Suchitra, was far from comfortable for them. What changed after the first half, you think?
Sorry, Abhishek, could you please repeat your question?
I was asking, I mean, scoreboard, the final score says 3-0 for Morocco, but first half was not very comfortable for them. What do you think changed after the first half?
Yes, definitely, Abhishek. I think the scoreboards never tell the whole story of the match. You were talking about Argentina versus Cape Verde match. I think if anybody sees the score line 3-2, they will not come to know the intensity of that match. And in the same manner, like if someone sees the score line 3-0, it may show that, you know, Morocco dominated the match, but I think it was not that way. It was not easy for them to win this match. And, you know, Canada also being the co-hosts of this World Cup, they had a lot of crowd support with them. So I think Canada literally overpowered and dominated Morocco in the first half of the match, but yes, they came out with a different strategy in the second half. And sometimes you have to face the situation spontaneously. You cannot really plan for such things, the kind of game, the kind of threat that Canada represented. But yet the credit should go to the Moroccan team that they grouped together. They played as a unit, because we must know that football is a team game. You cannot win a knockout match of a World Cup on just individual brilliance. You have to support each other. So I think the Moroccan team, they played better as a unit, and that's why they were able to win this match. Abhishek.
Absolutely. We'll talk about how crucial were the performances of, in fact, individual performances of Nahi and Rahimi. But let's now take a look at how Moroccan fans reacted after their victory over Canada.
فوزي نقجع رئيس الجامعة الملكية. هذه لحظات التاريخ، هذه لحظات. أرضية تسديد. شغب المغربي. فوزي نقجع رئيس الجامعة الملكية. هذه لحظات التاريخ، هذه لحظات.
All right, let's talk about tonight's game now. Brazil's quest for a record-extending 6th FIFA World Cup title faces a stern test as the five-time champions take on Norway in the round of 16 at New Jersey's MetLife Stadium. Carlo Ancelotti's side heads into the knockout clash, were unbeaten in the tournament, but history favours the Norwegians. Brazil have never beaten Norway in 4 previous meetings, including their famous 2-1 defeat at the 1998 World Cup. Norway will once again look towards Erling Haaland, while Brazil will rely on Vinicius Jr. and the experience of Neymar, who has been declared fit for selection. With a place in the quarterfinals at stake, an intriguing battle awaits between South American flair and Scandinavian resilience. And talking about the second game that will be played, co-host Mexico will look to make home advantage count when they face England in a blockbuster World Cup round of 16 clash at the iconic Estadio Azteca. Mexico have enjoyed an impressive campaign so far, remaining unbeaten and yet to concede a goal in the tournament while ending a 40-year wait for a World Cup knockout victory with their win over Ecuador. England, meanwhile, progress after defeating DR Congo and will once again rely on captain Harry Kane and their experienced squad. However, Thomas Tuchel's side faces a stern challenge against a partisan Mexican crowd and the high altitude of Mexico City, factors that could play a decisive role. With a place in the quarterfinals at stake, one of the tournament's most anticipated knockout encounters promises high drama. Malay, Brazil favourites on paper, but again Norway have never lost to Brazil in 4 previous meetings, including friendlies also. How much confidence will that history give the Norwegians?
Well, of course, Norway is a very tough team and they have nothing to lose. Now, when you are against a team which has nothing to lose, you have to set your arsenal going in order. All that you have in terms of your own ammunitions will have to be employed. And, don't forget they narrowly escaped disaster against Japan. And it needed a dramatic 90th minute winner from Gabriel Martinelli. So, again, I'll say the vibes and the names, they do matter. And the history is there to give you that moral boost up, which you need when you go there as numerous times winner of the FIFA World Cup. But if you look at the team and if you look at Erling Haaland, it'll be a very difficult task because Haaland is playing like a possessed man on football's biggest stage. It's so difficult to just stop him. I'm being very conscious in calling him somebody who looks like a possessed man, that he's there to do something, you can't do anything. He's monstrous in his approach. Now, that is something where you will find the fine battle between the junior and here the Haaland.
Yes, Haaland versus Brazil's defense also we can say. But Suchitra, talking about the England versus Mexico game, England have the stronger squad on paper, but can Mexico's home support and altitude level the contest?
Yes, Abhishek, I think England is more worried about the stadium, Azteca Stadium. They have bitter memories related to that stadium. They lost to Argentina in that quarter-final in 1986. Everybody is talking about Azteca, so I think it's time for England to rewrite the history, and they have the firepower to do that. They can outplay Mexico despite the crowd support, and this World Cup is being played in 3 different countries, 3 different kind of atmosphere, altitude, we can say. The players have to handle that. They were prepared for that, and we are talking about the stars of this World Cup. Messi is doing it for Argentina, Mbappe is doing it for France, Erling Haaland is doing it for Norway. So I think we'll have to see how Harry Kane performs, because he is also in that race, and England will depend a lot on their star if they want to win this match, and they do have the firepower. So I think in this particular match England are the favourites for me. Abhishek.
Yes, Brazil versus Norway and England versus Mexico. Big games tonight. After the round of 16, the focus, of course, will be on the quarterfinals. We're running short of time. Thank you for insights, Malay Nirav, senior sports journalist, and also Suchitra Bharwaj. Thank you for inputs. That's all we have in this edition of special broadcast, in fact, on FIFA World Cup 2026. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Have a nice day. Namaskar.